In the northeastern United States, Merrimack, New Hampshire, is home to 29,000 residents who enjoy the peace of its forested woodlands and flowing rivers. Laurene Allen, a clinical social worker, moved here 40 years ago. But what seemed like a healthy place to raise her family was the site of an industrial plastics factory, and the town would eventually face a major contamination crisis.
So Saint-Gobain acquired a company called ChemFab between 2000 and 2001. They upped their production to about 200 employees. They didn't filter the air stacks. They spewed into the environment. And they did this because they knew that the regulations weren't really here. And this corporation has deep pockets. They're an international multi-billion-dollar, giant.
In 2016, Merrimack's drinking water, sourced from public and private wells, was found to contain high levels of toxic PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, which are used as an additive in everyday household items. Community members were alarmed, but local authorities, influenced by industry lobbyists, downplayed the situation.
They did a presentation. They told us, these are emerging contaminants. We don't know much about them. And I'm sitting there Googling on my phone, and I'm finding more information than's being shared at this meeting. And I'm getting really angry.
Deeply concerned for the health of her community, Laurene spent long hours researching PFAS. She reviewed numerous scientific studies, as well as reports of water contamination from the Saint-Gobain plant.
These chemicals are really disturbing because they are the most persistent of endocrine disruptors. They bioaccumulate, they magnify, and we do not excrete them easily. So the impacts on every system of the body are significant. The endocrine system, the immune system, cardiovascular, reproductive health, neurodevelopmental, on and on it goes.
Realizing the severity of the situation, Laurene began testifying at meetings and organizing community members. She co-founded Merrimack Citizens for Clean Water and conducted a door-to-door survey that found higher than average health conditions related to PFAS exposure. But these efforts to raise awareness were met with resistance.
I went to a town council meeting and I had this cross-exam.
There is evidence. What evidence?
Evidence in our community of chronic health conditions, meaning people. They said, you use the word contamination. You cannot use that word. It's inflammatory language. You're going around town and you're fear-mongering.
People did not understand the severity of the situation. So Laurene and her citizens group ramped up their organizing. They engaged scientists and universities to test air, water, and soil. Members of the group were also elected to local and state offices, where they pushed for safer PFAS drinking water standards and the installation of filtration systems at public and private wells. Despite growing community opposition and political scrutiny, Saint-Gobain continued operations.
So we have this company that's caught doing something that they shouldn't be doing. They continue to do business. They don't lose a day of production. They run faster, harder, and ramp up the production. We wanted them shut down.
Laurene stepped up the pressure by organizing protests and convincing the EPA to hold a listening session in Merrimack. She also worked with the National PFAS Contamination Coalition and journalists to bring broader attention to the situation. In 2024, after 8 years of unrelenting pressure, Laurene and her community triumphed. Saint-Gobain announced it would shut down its plant and cease operations. The victory was hard-won, but the work continues.
In this area, there will always be filtration systems forever. But what gives me hope is people who don't give up, and even people who are fighting with great sickness in their body, who know that it's not too late for future generations. This is something that never should have happened.
Laurene continues to work with her community to remediate the contamination and address health impacts.